Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now, and it's gonna be it might trigger
Okay, don't say
in the
anything
top
too
corner
crazy.
here. No, I am because I've actually just edited my quickly edited my rankings of all the squads. Now today, Arsenal
Bro
officially
woke up and
have,
the first thing he did is edit his ranks.
because I've had it in the background. This one's already been there just in case this were to happen in my dreams, but it happened in reality. Arsenal now have the strongest squad in the league by talent.
Did you watch the end of the terrace? The guy was like, I made a spreadsheet and now Arsenal have the best squad in the league. Do you see that?
I didn't.
Bro, you have to love Arsenal fans.
Hello, everybody, and welcome along to Hotspot. This is a video that I've been long looking to finally debut. This is the debut of Right versus Wrong. It's the first time I'm ever doing this on Hotspot. Speaking of Hotspot, gotta get my logo in the top corner. This is the first time I'm ever doing this segment on Hotspot. This is the debut. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. And as you've seen in the opening clip, as we entered this video, I made the claim, and that was the day that Eze signed, that Arsenal had the best squad in the league. This is a fact that has just continued to mutate and become stronger and stronger as the weeks gone by. It has become, according to the media, according to some of my colleagues on the terrace or all across YouTube, it's starting to be spoken of as if it was just common knowledge, fact. The Arsenal have the best squad, deepest squad in the league, and it continues to show itself as the season goes on. Now, let me guys run you through this video. This is Right versus Wrong. So I've been on many appearances on YouTube since towards the end of August, on the football terrace, most prominently, and of course here on Hotspot, and of course on Fire Them Cannons. And by the way, as I bring up Fire Them Cannons, make sure you hit the QR code. For the episode we did of Fire Them Cannons yesterday featured my brother. So if you have any curiosity about my brother and what his takes are like, which is, by the way, vastly different from mine when it comes to the Arsenal, go check out yesterday's episode of Fire Them Cannons. But let's begin. This is Wrong versus Right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go through all of 10 of my takes, and I'm going to tell you which ones I got wrong and which ones I got right. You guys can get back to me in the comment section after we're done, and you can basically, tell me if you think I'm still wrong, because there's some of these are still, I'm right for the moment or I'm wrong for the moment. Some of these things are not fully set in stone, but I've been very looking forward to it. This is based off of course, Colin Cowherd, Colin Right, Colin Wrong, which he does every Tuesday on FS1, if I'm not mistaken. We'll be doing this maybe every couple of weeks, just kind of allow some of the takes to sort of gel, because I have a natural inclination when I'm basically on the terrace, especially, to try to come in and jump in with a hot take, because I can get very passionate, especially if somebody triggers me or pushes back. I tend to then kind of nail and double down on certain takes. So let's begin with Anton Right, Anton Wrong. Here you go.
Where Anton was right.
He's an Arsenal player. You must be over the moon.
I literally just woke up and looked at my phone, and I'm like, what world am I living in?
Oh no, you weren't on the earlier Arsenal show. You were on the show this morning. Sorry, yes, you've just seen it, haven't you? Yes, sorry.
I literally woke up 5 minutes ago, and I look at my phone, and my phone I've got 300 messages, and I looked up on Instagram. I'm like, is this real? Like, okay, I'm just gonna say this right now, and it's gonna be it might trigger
Okay, don't say
in the
anything
top
too
corner
crazy.
here. No, I am because I've actually just edited my quickly edited my rankings of all the squads. Now today, Arsenal
Bro
officially
woke up
have,
and the first thing he did is edit his ranks.
because I've had it in the background. This one's already been there just in case this were to happen in my dreams, but it happened in reality. Arsenal now have the strongest squad in the league by by talent. Barely. Now we're talking about a hair. If Liverpool were to go and complete Isak, they would go back in front. But for right now, Arsenal have pound for pound the best squad in the league. If we're talking about depth, we're talking about starting 11 strength. That's how big this Eze deal is for Arsenal, and it's a complete game changer. Now, everyone can try to think that I'm trolling or laughing. This is actually.
Oh, we believe you, brother. We believe you.
Do the calculations. All right.
No, you don't. Stop it. You don't.
No, I believe that he believes that. That my take is different.
No, it's not even.
I don't think he's kidding. I believe him.
I don't literally. I'm not the type of person to come out and tell you like something because out of my emotion or out of my opinion. I literally have been doing these spreadsheets the whole year and waiting for this moment for Arsenal to get Eze, because that's what would have put Arsenal over the top. As I said, if Isak goes to Liverpool, which is I still think it could be likely, then obviously that would put Liverpool back in front. But we've now jumped both Liverpool and City to number one for the moment, at least. But regardless.
No, before you go regardless, because you're going to say something else. I have to say, Terry, this is just a statement for Terry Fleur. If I say leopard in the tree any point from now to the end of the season, and you start to laugh or to try to like make any jokes, now you see why. You get me. Big up Mo, because Mo was cooking. Okay. Mohamed Salah did an interview. Do you see what he said with Cecil? Arsenal are favorites. I agree. Arsenal, the pressure is on you now.
Listen,
you have the best squad. See how Terry's interrupting? He doesn't want his beloved Arsenal to be under pressure. So let me just say what I have to say, brother. Let me just say what I have to say.
Speaking and I'll respond. Go on.
Yes, let me just listen. I just want to say this. Guys, Arsenal are the favorites. City fans in the chat, Liverpool fans in the chat, we are the underdogs. We are the underdogs for this title. You heard that. It's not me. It's the Arsenal fans saying it. They have the best squad in the league. He said
I didn't say that.
He said he woke up.
He said that.
And he made the spreadsheet. In 1 second, he woke up. He made the spreadsheet. Perfect. And the spreadsheet says that Arsenal have the best squad in the league. So now, with the best squad in the league, you must. Also, Igal says it. So Arsenal, you must win the league. We are underdog. I'm underdog. It's going to be very difficult season.
Hassam is being very disingenuous at this particular moment in time on this video. As you can see throughout the video, he's laughing, he's doing this, he's making gestures because he was so convinced. And I was just on a stream with him this morning. He was so convinced that Liverpool had the best squad in the league. He still kind of refers to it as caviar or Wagyu beef. And I was just sitting there once we signed Eze, and I was like, no, Arsenal's got the best squad in the league. And you can see the reaction. Like Staffy's laughing and he's giving me this smile. He goes, I believe it. And Cal, much love to Cal. I love Cal. He's my, he's my podcast partner. His image is literally right on the end of the screen here. Again, hit the QR code, subscribe to Fire Them Cannons. Even he goes like, oh, hey. I didn't say that. Trying to distance himself from what I said. And I don't blame anybody for it. We were sitting at a time when everyone was very convinced that Liverpool had the best squad in the league, but I never was. And I always kind of felt at this point, from this point onwards, because I was on plenty of shows and you will see it before that, I didn't have as much faith in Arsenal until that Eze signing happened. And then, as you can see, I said, well, if Liverpool got Isak, then they would jump ahead. But Arsenal also got Nkapie, which kind of, again, put in Nkapie again, it then raised Arsenal's depth level to an insane level. And of course, that led me to say some of the following stuff. And this was another video on the transfer deadline special, right? The transfer window has just closed. And Terry was going on. Everybody was all kind of agreeing that Liverpool had the best squad in the league. Terry knew that I had a different opinion. And I had earlier in that day made a post about, how amazing Arsenal's squad was. So he had to come to me on this one. And this is what I had to say.
Anton, do you agree or disagree? Because I know that I'm going to preface this by putting this out there. I saw your graphics. You think that Arsenal maybe have won it because you believe you've now got the most balanced and complete squad in the Premier League.
I do. Okay, it's twofold. Because I do think that
breaking the transfer window twice. Like I have to kind of put my unbiased hat on as well. Try to be fair here. Breaking the British transfer window twice does put a lot of pressure on them, and that is something that's very unprecedented. But yeah, what I would say is that there are many different ways to judge a window, and one way I definitely judge a window is like from my team point of view. I forget about all the other teams. Is like I need X position, Y position, Z position, right? Have I filled all of those things? I got a shopping list. Have I come home from the grocery store with all the things that my wife put on the shopping list, or did I miss a few things? So like for me, Arsenal came home with everything on the shopping list ticked off, and Liverpool bought like a really, really nice car, but they forgot the tires. Oh shit! Like maybe the tires is a bit of extreme. Yeah. I'm trying to find something that they forgot home, but that would be depth on the wing, because they sold Luis Diaz, which I keep saying and people keep forgetting. Remember when Luis Diaz was being sold and everyone's like, oh, they're going to go get Rodrigo now. They're going to go get some sort of winger. That winger never came in. They have a young 18-year-old now. I'm telling you, that kid's playing out well. He stepped up, scored a big goal. But to rely on that, you have a lot of games throughout this entire season. To rely on him to be able to come up with that every single time, or let's say you get a gap going down, and then all of a sudden he's stepping in. It's with Arsenal. If we lose Eze, we're still back to the wingers we had last year. Now those aren't really good enough for me in general, but there's still like Premier League proven reliable options. Like Arsenal, we had like I said we reckon I need around 7 or 8 players. We got 8 players. We have depth in all of the positions. But think about it. They might brought Isak and Wirtz, right? But we brought Eberechi Eze, Victor Gyökeres, Martin Zubimendi, Incape, who I believe will be a starter on the left, and I swear by him, guys. Like seriously, he is going to surprise so many people with how good he is and how perfect he's going to fit in this league. And then as well, yeah, we got Madueke now solves our Saka problem in terms of depth. We have Norgard who comes in, and people who are saying that's a downgrade on Jorginho need to understand that Jorginho, like when we were in the semifinals of the Champions League and Partey was out, we had nobody to fill that role. Like I forgot exactly who was playing in the deep center midfield in that game, but yeah, it was a big issue. And so now at least Norgard is there. You know what I'm saying? Like
I hear where you're coming from. I look at it this way: Liverpool may have won the transfer window, but I don't think that's a reason for Arsenal fans to be angry, because you still had a very good one. And I think we've created, and I do blame the manosphere. I do blame the Standards FC people that sort of, and I mean this. I don't even mean it in a horrible way. People that are, if what I've got isn't considered the best, I can't be happy with it. And there is this weird thing online at the moment in general life, where accepting things that are not the absolute best is seen as a weakness, which is just ridiculous, because you can't always win everything. And in reality, winning the transfer window at this stage is one thing. You actually want to win the transfer window come the end of the season when it actually works, because West Ham United were considered the winners of the transfer window a year ago by most people. They went, oh, you know what, pound for pound, everyone was like they had the best window. It didn't really work out for them. In reality, a lot of us will say Sunderland have had a good window. They get relegated and Burnley stay up. We'll look back and go, shit window, really, weren't it? They wasted loads of money. So I do look at it from that perspective as well. I don't think Arsenal fans should be panicking. You probably had the best window in the history of your...
Okay. I got to give credit to Terry, because while Terry was glazing Liverpool the whole time, Terry's always been very... This is kind of what his channel is built on, being very unbiased, being very balanced, looking at things from all angles. So Terry was never going to dismiss what I said. Terry was basically saying there's a lot of validity behind what I said. But where I was right was that I went ahead and said this on transfer deadline day when everybody, Isak had just signed for Liverpool. Everyone is going. He had a monologue earlier in that video that began the video about, how Isak joining Liverpool just makes them very, very scary. And I wasn't shaken because I was very happy with the window that we had, with the depth that we had, and I was just like confident that that's going to make a big difference. And to this point, it's starting to become very clear that we have. Let's move on to the next one. This is when I kind of took this, and of course, this is the longest of the Anton Right, Anton Wrong points, just because it had a life that started and it kept developing, because I want to kind of just illustrate to you how it's developed. This was on the post-match against Nottingham Forest. I had to say what I had to say, which Igal had just said, by the way. Big up Igal, because I think me and him are cut from the same cloth. Oswell, not positive Dan, if guys watch Gooners Therapy, also cut from similar cloth with us, just positive Gooners. And Igal said, you know, he believes that Arsenal are the best squad in the league, which, by the way, a statement that Igal has been also very, very consistent on. And so I have to big up Igal for that. I'm not going to take all the credit for it, because Igal has gone step for step with me on this very, very point. So I also have to give him credit where it's due. But he said that he thought Arsenal the best squad in the league. At this point, I just felt like I had to jump in there. I don't know why. I kind of took things to the next level, and I was like, Arsenal's got the best squad in Europe. So I doubled down on my take, and I took it to the next level. Watch.
And then you see the product of what it looks like on the other end. By the way, I love sharing a podcast with a gal, because like I have not much to say, because he literally said everything that was in my brain, like which is fantastic. But I actually want to take it a step further. I think that Arsenal have the best depth of any side in Europe. And it like City, when they're fully healthy, I think is up there. Let's be honest, at the moment, like they're missing about 10, 12 players. But I still think they're second behind us. Like I don't even think Madrid or like Bayern Munich, who historically have good depth, have as good of a squad depth as Arsenal. Like, think about it. Max Dowman is your third string right winger, and he comes on and impacts games. Leandro Trossard, this is basically his first real appearance. I mean, he appeared against Leeds, but he comes off the bench. One touch is an assist. Like, this Arsenal team, like I've sat back listening to just way too much just false narratives over the past week or two since the international break started, and I've counted down the hours to play this game, not because it's Nottingham Forest, but just so that we can illustrate to you that Arsenal is not going to be Stoke this year. For anybody who thinks that and who has that narrative, throw it out now. Because what Arsenal can do is beat you in so many different ways. So yes, we can beat you playing like Stoke, but we can also beat you playing like Barcelona. Like it's just
Anton, I can't.
All right. I gotta keep this video moving. I know Ash is gonna rebut, because we can sit here all day, but nothing I've stated there has been false, or it's been actually proven more correct. Now, I took this thing to the next level even further only a few days later, when we played our first Champions League game against Bilbao. And yeah, and again, Terry calls me out where Anton was wrong on, you know, in our group chat for me kind of criticizing the substitute of Martinelli, and he goes on to score less than 20 seconds later, which everyone found was hilarious. But it was still an illustration of the depth that Arteta could turn to in terms of the squad depth. And again, this is about a period of time where this idea is still kind of gelling, still trying to be kind of believed in, because a lot of people still believed in Liverpool overall depth. Liverpool was still perfect at this point in the season. And yeah, so this is what I had to say. I doubled down on my Europe take after this. And just for a bit of a background to it, Terry egged me on to privately, but you know, let's take a look at what I had to say here.
Side, was your claim proven tonight that you have the best squad depth in Europe?
Yeah, I double and triple down on that. Like, and by the way, big up Ash, because he just nonchalantly said it. Like, you know, so now I've got confirmation that my statement is not ridiculous, like everybody is making it out to be. And yeah, I think we have the best squad depth in Europe. Like the ability for us to literally, as panel members have said, as Seb was saying as well, for us to be able to switch like almost our entire front line, or like, and bring on Martinelli and Trossard, who were literally very vital key players for Arsenal in the past. And for me to be able to like be upset with bringing on a former starting left winger who's got pace says a lot about how good our depth is. I think this is unmatched. Like the depth we've had. We've gone from having kids who will never ever put an Arsenal shirt on the bench in Champions League nights to having basically our former starters all on the bench. Like the teams in the Champions League, the teams in the Premier League should be scared. And I'm telling you this right now. And I know everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, you're gonna overreact because it's the Champions League and you only beat Bilbao, whatever." That's not the idea of who we were playing. It's the idea of what we have in our arsenal, so to say. And Liverpool doesn't have it. I'm just going to tell you right now, Liverpool does not have it. You might love the sexy names, you might love the Isaacs, the Salahs, whatever. But throughout an entire campaign, when you have to play midweek, Champions League, Premier League matches, cups, that takes a toll. And
They're already out of the cup. By the way, this is again a backup of another point where Anton was right, which was my Liverpool point. Again, I kept illustrating that throughout the season, but we'll get to that, of course, eventually. But you could see, even when, like, I was trying to hold back on the Liverpool hate as much as I could, but it just came out because that's just what I believed. And that I was also in the middle of this monologue, and I'll hit that on again. But although it's one for later,
Where Anton was right.
have to count that one as well.
Arsenal are prepared to do that. I'm not quite sure if Liverpool is prepared to do that. So I'm happy for them to be called the so-called favorites and take all the pressure off of us. But at the end of the day, this team is getting the job done. I swear to God.
Do you see the laughing emojis from Carefree Lewis? By the way, big him up as well. He's a big Chelsea YouTuber, and because everyone just thinks I'm not serious. People to this day think I'm not serious, but it's just people are in denial. I feel like I've come to the conclusion that people are always going to kind of be in denial, especially when it comes to their football club. And yeah, I think there's something about Arsenal that anybody comes out and is confident about Arsenal, they sound wacky, they sound kooky, they sound deluded. You notice that the panel here ain't shaking. At this point, the panel here ain't shaking. They're starting to be like, you know what? This could be true. And again, as I mentioned, Igal is on this channel. And Ash, by the way, said it earlier before. And yeah, I did say it. And as Terry's about to tell you, then I'll move on.
Listen, you've said it. It's a big claim. I mean, it is a fantastic squad. And it's a squad that, we'll talk about this earlier. If I'm being honest with you, there's only maybe 3 teams in the Champions League that I would put a bet on winning the Champions League ahead of you, and that might be Liverpool.
So at this point now, Terry's now come to the idea that there are 3 teams now. So we've come from like Arsenal aren't serious, they don't have a good squad. By the way, it's not what words that Terry have said, but words that other people have said. And this was including myself before we signed Eze, right? We and by the way, even go further back into the summer before we really bought any of our players, it looked like Liverpool and City were getting a head start on us, and we were stagnant. And people like Arsenal aren't serious; they have nowhere to compete. Look where we're at now. But at this point in time, again, Terry is willing to then only put us maybe around 4th, top 4 strongest squad in Europe, which, by the way, is amazing considering where Arsenal have come from.
Barcelona and maybe Real Madrid. PSG, I wouldn't, based on the fact that they won it last year, and only once in the last 45 years has the team retained it. So I'm going on probability that there's more teams that have won it for the first time than have retained it in my lifetime. Therefore, I'd predict.
Anyway, let's move on to the next part. And this is the last part of the first point, which is, of course, my largest point, my headliner the one that I'm most proud of in terms of ones that I was right. And this was only a few weeks ago. This was right after Chelsea had beaten Liverpool and Arsenal had gone top. And this was my confirmation. Even at this point, Arsenal was starting to move top, but people still had their doubts. And I was just like, nah, I've come here on this show to headline and to draw a massive underline under the fact that this is a huge moment. Arsenal are doing, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. Arsenal are behaving this way where we can have a chance to really make a platform to really become dominant now moving forward, that our club is just doing everything correctly. And I drew a big underline under it. Watch that.
The end of the show. Fiction or fact, Anton? Arsenal are purring at the top, re-signing all their stars, and are clearly the team to beat this season.
1000% facts with a capital FACTS. Yeah, we have been the most consistent side all year. I think the way that we are being run, we're going to go from talking about Manchester United and we're talking about Arsenal. Like, all of our big players are now staying. We're giving Raya a new deal, not necessarily extending the years, but showing that he has earned every single penny he's gotten, that it's a true meritocracy. And the players love playing for Arteta. Saliba's now signed, Saka's about to sign, Timber's about to sign, and then we're about to also add 10,000 seats to the Arsenal stadium. Like, Arsenal are being proactive now rather than being reactive. So in terms of the part about the new signings and the way we're going, I think 1000%, like, we are not only getting better as a football club on the pitch, we're also doing what we need to do off the pitch to maintain that success moving forward. And also, we've been the most consistent side the whole season. Like, I'll give you an example, right? I came on this show after a 2-0 win, but Liverpool hasn't won by a 2-goal margin all season, as an example. And we have so much depth. We've had so many players, the same injuries basically that we had last season, and we haven't even noticed anything at all. There's been no drop-off. We've played the toughest schedule in the Premier League, and we're top of the league now. I think the fixtures only open up for Arsenal now, and I think, for instance, for all those people thinking that we might drop off during Christmas, during the Christmas period, what Arteta can do that no other manager right now can do is that he can switch his lineup, keep everybody fresh when we're playing 2-3 times in a week during that period, where generally he's playing the same lineups and players are getting injured. Saka got injured during that period last year, and all of a sudden the walls start caving in. I don't believe that they cave in this year. I think that as well, Arsenal have learned from the past title pushes. Like, to take it into context, for instance, 3 years ago, Arsenal weren't expected to win the league, that we dropped off. The year after that, we took it all the way to the last day. And last year, we had like 27 injuries. So for the first time, I don't think that any of those factors are coming into play, which is why guys like me and Cal said there are no excuses for Arsenal. I think we are 1000% should be the favorites. They don't build all the hotels in Las Vegas for nothing. Like, that's why the bookies know what they're talking about, and got to pay attention.
Fiction.
So there's not much else to say on that one. Look, I wanted to double down on my point. It developed from Arsenal have the best squad, even though people didn't really like believe it. And then, of course, my narrative is shifting to Arsenal are the favorites. When the bookies installed Arsenal as the favorites, people still been like, I still think Liverpool the marginal favorites, Liverpool the marginal favorites, Liverpool the marginal favorites. And I just had to big up my club. I just had to stand up for my club. And now it's starting to get to this point where, like, Arsenal are obviously the favorites. So again, Anton was right. But on the next one, little bit different. Of a
Where
story.
Anton was wrong.
Woltemade, 85 million euros is
Yeah,
insane.
I think it's going to take him a very long time to like develop, not just to Justice League, but also develop. He's very raw.
But
Yeah, I got that one wrong. In fact, dead wrong, because Nick Woltemade at the moment, of all the signings, has been the most successful. Has hit the ground running quicker than any of the signings, quicker than Gyökeres, quicker than Isak, quicker than, I mean, maybe not quicker. Ekatike kind of somewhere up there, but in a bit of a different light. But I was wrong. I said it would take him time to develop. He's clearly taken off his form from Germany. He's carried it across the Premier League and he's thrived. So I got to take the L on that one. That one was definitely where Anton was wrong.
Where Anton was right.
Anton, obviously you're an Arsenal fan. I wanted to ask you. So it's just been said by Sammy McBell that Trossard is set to leave.
Is that breaking news?
I'm just going by aggregate. I haven't read the news yet, but Sammy McBell said he's set to leave. Ed Aarons has now said that Arsenal will be leading the race for Eze this summer, but are yet to send an offer, talking about how Arsenal identify him as the player they need against deep defences. But we now know Spurs are back in. How do you see this one playing out in the next couple of days? Because it's also now been reported that the release clause hasn't expired yet. It's actually this Friday it expires. So everyone thought it was a few weeks ago. How do you see this one playing out, Anton?
Right. So I've thought about this for the last couple hours. To be honest, this is going to be the biggest test of Andrea Berta so far in this window, because up to this point, he has had everything kind of laid out for him perfectly. The players have made it very clear that they only want to go to Arsenal. All of the competition has sort of kind of moved away. And whether he's wanting to wait for the sales or not, he has to make this deal happen. Firstly, because I think this is the main player that Arsenal want. They're not going to just sit idly by and allow Tottenham then at this point to take him. I reckon now, you're now telling me that Trossard news is dropping. I don't think that's coincidental. I think Arsenal's going to have to be sprung into action. And I think this is very similar to this, now that they have Newcastle fans in the group here as well. Mm-hmm. What happened with Benjamin Sesko and Manchester United. So Newcastle made that move early. And I feel like Man United took a couple of days then to sort of get their ducks in a row, and then kind of made sure that they got the player buy-in, and then they made their move because they knew that that was the player's preferred destination. Ultimately, my gut still tells me that's what is going on right now with Eze. I think that, I hope. Oh my God. I got to tell you, seeing Rodrigo being linked with City yesterday and Eze today with Spurs on back-to-back days is not easy to see for Arsenal, but it's kind of like you kind of have to get your your nerves kind of put in check and be like, you know what, this is what it's about, because this is kind of now, instead of us waiting, we're to see what the club is actually going to do. And I think that this deal is going to happen. I think he's going to go to Arsenal. What do you think?
Yeah, so again, and this is at a time when Alexander Eberechi Eze, we were Arsenal waiting for, like, basically since the moment Gyökeres deal was finalized. Fabrizio Romano puts out a tweet, Arsenal are not done yet. They're definitely interested in signing Eberechi Eze. And we're like, okay, when's that going to drop? When's that going to drop? When's that going to drop? And it was weeks, maybe almost a month later. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's Tottenham are going in for Eze. And then there was a meltdown. And by the way, that was a day after the news that Man City were interested in buying Rodrigo if Savinho were to be, they were looking to transfer Savinho to Tottenham. And I was like, the fan base was in meltdown on social media. Oh no, whatever. And I kind of was a bit of a meltdown the day before it happened. But I said it exactly how it would turn out. If Arsenal and Tottenham both went in for Eberechi Eze, Arsenal would get the player. Let's move on to this next one. This was, by the way, on my debut on what was the Top 6 show. This was the last ever Top 6 show. This is my very first debut. And yeah, we kind of got into it with a few of the Spurs fans, two of them. I'm on here already, and so you'll notice that I'm going to go and say if Arsenal and Tottenham both went in for Eberechi Eze, that Arsenal will get the player, and then Henry and Kate kind of both go like, based on what? So again, this is about 6 days before it signs. I'm going to let it run for a little bit because then Terry at the end kind of fully dismisses the idea of Eze going to Arsenal, basically saying that it's more than likely he ends up at Spurs. So wasn't Terry's finest moment that, you know what, I always say, when you're behind the mic long enough, you say exactly what you're thinking onto the airwaves, so everyone knows exactly what you're thinking. And if your opinion changes day to day sometimes, which I think it's natural human nature, mine did definitely during a transfer window. But anyway, this was one of my favorite clips of this video today, when I came on ritually and I kind of said something that would happen only 6 days later.
Then it means Arsenal and Tottenham are going to be battling it out for Eberechi Eze.
But in that scenario, Eberechi Eze goes to Arsenal.
Based on what?
It may be, yeah. Maybe.
Based on the fact that the player's preference has been Arsenal, and it's.
But where does he want to play?
There's no offense taken.
Positionally, it makes sense. It might make sense for him to go to Tottenham in this case, because if Rodrigo's off the ball for Arsenal, you're going to be bringing in Eberechi Eze to play left wing. Tottenham, if they're bringing in Eberechi Eze, will be playing him in the 10 because James Maddison's out for the season. If he wants to play in the 10, if he wants to sort of put a market down for this World Cup next summer, he wants to be considered, for that starting 11. I think that he wants to be playing 10 this season in that number 10 spot for whichever team.
Well, Leandro Trossard plays a very similar position when he starts for Arsenal, and I always felt that Trossard has been more effective than Martinelli as a starter, and especially, for instance, if Calafiori can stay fit, it gives Calafiori likes to bomb down the left-hand side, and it would almost like playing with 2 10s because Eze comes closer into the pitch. You got Eze on one side and Odegaard on the other side, which I think is what Arteta wants to do with Eze. So I don't necessarily think it's like you can look around the paper and say, oh yeah, he's on the left and he's an attacking midfielder who plays centrally. But in Arsenal's system and the way he wants to play, I think he would still be very much central. Like Trossard drifts.
So what about when Lewis Skelly plays?
Well, that's a different thing. Your rotation. When you're a big club, you know that. Like I take Man City as an example. They have maybe 3 or 4 players who are constantly guaranteed their starting position, and everyone else rotates. Got plenty of games. So Arsenal would use a combination of different scenarios. So, like for instance, if you start out with Miles Lewis-Skelly, I can imagine that Arteta in that scenario, could start Eze inside and rest Odegaard for the day, or play Martinelli or Madueke on the left to accommodate the style of Lewis-Skelly. So it's just Arteta wants
how many games? How many games do you think he starts at Arsenal this season?
Who? So who we're talking about?
Eze. If he was to hypothetically sign for Arsenal, how many Premier League starts would he get?
Between maybe 20 to 30, like maybe even more. It really depends. We had so many injuries last year as well.
Listen, right now it's being stated that Arsenal are pulled away from this. I think it's a little bit of a what's the word? A little elementary at this particular moment in time. My question is this, and I want to throw this to Kate and Henry. Is this potentially a little bit of PR from Arsenal to make their fans calm down about the fact that Eze is now likely to join Spurs? That he has agreed personal terms, or they're no problem. You guys are advancing in conversations. Could this be a way of going, listen, guys, don't worry about not getting Eze. We're still after Rodrigo. And then everyone calms down for a little bit. If they have a decent start to the season, then don't get Rodrigo. Things chill out. Could this be PR from Arsenal, Kate? Because you've beaten them for one reason or another to Eze.
Yeah. Didn't beat us to Eze. Eberechi Eze scored for Arsenal against Crystal Palace this past weekend. So, by definition,
Where Anton was right.
All right, moving on. And this one isn't as
Where Anton was wrong.
As a collective, I think they score more league goals.
I actually
And
think that Ekatike scores more league goals than Isak. Actually, by the way, correction.
Where Anton was right.
Sorry, I clicked on the wrong video, but while we're here, we might as well get onto it. This one.
No.
See, and so the thing is, I don't think you. My point was actually going to be about Newcastle.
Yeah.
I think they've improved their attack as a collective. I
Yeah.
think Isak and Callum Wilson. I think that Wissa and Woltemade collectively will outperform Isak and Callum Wilson. Neither will outperform Isak individually, but as a collective, I think they score more league goals.
I actually think that Ekatike scores more league goals than Isak.
No.
At the moment, by the way, again, this one is fluid. At the moment, it's Ekatike 7, Alexander Isak 1. +6 for me. Anyway, now we're going to go to...
Where Anton was wrong.
All right, so this was my Premier League predictor that I did in our group chat. It was, I put here, by the way, a lot of things that are, well, a lot of TBD. They're not saying the whole thing is wrong. The one point that I want to kind of zero in is I go top goal scorer, Golden Boot, Victor Gyökeres. See, as you see here, Victor Gyökeres. And yeah, at the moment, Aaron Hong is well clear. Gyökeres only has 3 league goals through 9 games. I'm willing to concede that Victor Gyökeres will not win the Golden Boot this year. And then because I did back-to-back where Anton was right accidentally.
Where Anton was wrong.
I actually think Tottenham are going to get this.
Oh. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is where Anton was wrong. We'll play that one again.
Where Anton was wrong.
Anton.
So there are 2. Again, still wrong.
Anton, who you backing and why?
So usually I don't do this until after the transfer window is over because there's so many things to change. So I'm just going to go by what the teams look like right now, like if the window were to shut today. And in that scenario, I'm actually going to go differently than everybody else. I think Manchester City are going to win. I find it very, very hard to think that Pep Guardiola is just sitting there and assessing the situation and being like, I'm just going to allow Liverpool to win back-to-back Premier League titles. I think he's kind of replenished the players that were getting older with younger versions in the team. It's interesting to see how that might, pan out. But yeah, at the moment, it looks like it's likely that they might get Rodrigo. But I think Man City, I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win the Premier League. I just think sometimes when it's too obvious that everyone kind of thinks it's going to go one way, that somehow it ends up going in a different way than people expected. All right, from that perspective.
Where Anton was right.
Because everyone expected it to go Liverpool, and it is going to look like it's going to go a different way. Where I was wrong, and I could still be right, but hopefully I'm not right, was the part about backing Man City to win the league. At the moment, it just seems like Arsenal are clear favorites. And so for now, I kind of have to count that one as...
Where Anton was wrong.
Okay, we will be moving on. This is not, we're going to take a break from the right or wrong. And this is one that is pending right now. And by the way, he just made his first start for Arsenal. This was a take that I said I believe that Pierre Nkapie could be the best left back in the Premier League.
I've got to pivot though. I've got to pivot to Anton on this. On the new signing, whose name I keep going to keep saying wrong. You really, I want to make sure I ask this question. I want to be fair. You think he comes in and is instantly the best left back in the Premier League day one?
Yeah, look, I've watched this player play many, many times by Leverkusen. And look, he did, for under Jabi Alonso, he used him in so many different ways. He used him on the left side of a back three. He used him at left back at times. So they have Grimaldo, on that side as well. He played there. But in times when he needed to use Kimpembe, he used Kimpembe sometimes even as a left wing back. He is so versatile. He is like fits Arsenal like a glove. He's great from set pieces. He's aggressive in the tackle. He's got great recovery pace. And going forward with the ball at his feet, he can be overlapping fullback if you need him to. He's got great passing vision. Like, I just think he's got the lot. Like, I wanted this player 2 years ago last season when we went for Calafiori. He was the original target, and I felt that we got a little bit, Euros praise by watching Calafiori, and we switched off of, I think, who our original target is, which is why I'm not surprised that we're going to go after this player now. I think that he is perfectly suited to the Premier League, and yes, he's going to, I'd say, be similar to what Josko Gvardiol's impact was at City in year one. So yes.
Wow.
So again, that one is TBA, because at the moment it's looking more likely like a wrong than a right, just because Nkapia is a bit far behind. Calafiori's got that position nailed down, and Arsenal's really not just conceding much in terms of chances at all. So let's see. Nkapia is going to have to be able to have an opportunity to play at left back and more often in order for that to hit. I still believe that if he got a good run of games, that he would be the best left back in the Premier League. I mean, at the moment, Ricardo Calafiori is playing as the best left back in the Premier League. So it's just a wealth of riches that Arsenal have at the moment. Anyway, we're going to be moving on, and this is one of my absolute favorite statements that I made this year.
Where Anton was right.
No, this one. 15 from 15. That's right. I have Liverpool as the second tier on the tiers. And you're going to be like, what the fuck is this guy on about? Pardon my French. They're 15 from 15 and they barely played well. This is scary, as everyone likes to say. And I feel like you're not looking at all the information. They're 15 from 15, but their schedule isn't nowhere near as difficult as the team that I'm putting at the top. And you can be like, what? They're 5 points clear. But let's be honest. And by the way, add the Leone injury into it that happened in midweek. Again, as well, they barely beat Southampton, Championship Southampton at home in the Cup, despite their new striker, Alexander Isak, scoring, which, by the way, big deal. Oh, he scored and everybody watch out. Bruv, that was a gift. Southampton literally passed that directly to, I forgot who was the teammate who assisted Isak on it. I think it was like Chiesa or something like that. Chiesa or Bradley. I forget. And then he just tapped it in. And then Ekitike taps another win later on to get the winner, and he pulls off his shirt, and he's just really weird behavior. But the list is piling up of two nil leads that have been thrown away. They haven't won by more than one this all season. Everyone's frothing over good 15 to 20 minute spells that Liverpool are putting together, but I'm seeing it another way. And people think I'm looking at it being jealous or being triggered and being fearful. And of course, a part of it is the competitive side for me. But I was told, and then this is the standard that everyone's literally setting, and they're not keeping the same energy. I was told that this team was easily the best team in the league, and they're running away with it. And the table could say, look, they're 5 points clear. But who Arsenal dropped those 5 points to? They had the toughest schedule so far in the league. Liverpool's schedule has included the likes of Burnley and Everton and Bournemouth. And you can even say as much as Newcastle. Look where Newcastle right now are. I keep using Newcastle to qualify, but Newcastle have only got 1 win through 5 this season. Like, the Champions League game, they let Atletico come all the way back from 2-0 down. They let Bournemouth come all the way back from 2-0 down. They let 10-man Newcastle come back from 2-0 down, and they've gotten out of jail so many times. I'm sorry, you can get out of jail a couple times in the season. I call that champion mentality. But they're starting to make a habit. Oh, the scary part is they can only get better from here. I get that. And the tiers will reflect that if that is the case. But through 5 games of the season, not all 15 out of 15 is created equal. Okay, yeah, they're perfect for now, but here's the truth. The next team, Arsenal, who I put at the top of the table, and yes, I called it top of the tiers, not the table. This is not the table. These are the tiers. So the tiers are a reflection of how I feel the teams are ranked, not necessarily where they're placed in the table. So let's look at Arsenal by comparison. Arsenal have had the hardest schedule so far this year. They also have, and by more and more and more people I speak to coming to my reality, and I said this early, and by the way, I'd rather say something early and be looked at crazy than say it after everybody else and looking like I'm a follower. Like, that's kind of who I am as a person. And I know this is my own team, and you're like, this isn't biased. You're basically, I know this is the tiers, just like Nick's tiers. Anton's tiers is also created so that Arsenal can be on the top of the tiers every week. I get where you guys might be thinking. But let's break down these stats, right? So Arsenal have the best goal difference in the Premier League, +8. Arsenal have scored the second most goals this season. Arsenal's schedule is the hardest schedule, and the 2 games in which they drop points to are against their main title rivals. Now, Mikel Arteta, I'll bring it up now, and he's going to get it in my other videos this weekend, has gotten a lot of scrutiny for the way the team sets up, and that's the risk he's taking. I don't agree with what he's doing. I think that he has got... Anyway, I've gone way too far in this clip. The point was, this was a few hours, this was earlier in the day. I put out Anton's tiers, and Liverpool were perfect, 15 from 15. Everyone's like, oh my God, look how scary this is. They haven't even clicked out of first gear, and they're still perfect in the top of the league. And I just kept saying, they're on a tightrope. They're on a tightrope. Only eventually that rope is going to snap. Later that day, Eddie Nketiah from a throw-in scored. William Estevao, 1 week later, scored injury time, gave them the win. Then, after the international break, Harry Maguire did it. By the way, in between, they lost to Galatasaray. Then, of course, with a little bit of a break by beating Frankfurt in the Champions League. Then they go to Brentford, they lose. And now, they have now lost at home against Crystal Palace for a second time on this run to knock themselves out of the cup. I called it. I knew that this was a team that was not as good as everybody thought. It was fool's gold. And the real team that was the best team in the Premier League, which is proven to be the best team in the Premier League now, was Arsenal. So again, I had to give myself on this call.
Where Anton was right.
But not on this call.
Where Anton was wrong.
So we're back again with the predictors that I had. And in my relegation zone, you will see that I had Brentford, Sunderland, and Burnley. Well, actually, at the moment, none of these 3 are in the relegation zone. But Sunderland, by the way, are 3rd in the Premier League. So I'm giving up on the idea that they're going to get relegated this season. I think the form to start the season is too good. It's been actually better form than Liverpool and City so far this season. So I can't have Sunderland in the relegation at whatsoever. And Brentford, I thought Brentford would be relegated. And I think they've proven that they're not a team that looks like they're going to go down. Again, I could end up being right at the end of it. I highly doubt it. So at this point, I'm just going to concede defeat and say...
Where Anton was wrong.
All right. Let's move on to, a similar... We'll kind of stay on the subject here. And so this was kind of like... We play this little game. By the way, there are a few ones that I was right about, a few ones where I was wrong about throughout the video. So I will this is kind of a bit of a fun one because there are a lot of Anton Right, Anton Wrongs within this one. And this was a super chatter, basically asked like who will underachieve this season, who's going to surprise. There are ones, again, this continues on the theme of what I said about Brentford. Let's take a listen for that one.
Who I have for underachievers. The first one is because I have to be consistent with what I just predicted.
Where
before,
Anton was
which would have
right.
to be Liverpool, because with the team they have now, if they don't win the league, I think it's a massive underachievement. But in
I
reality,
hit where Anton was right really quickly. I was saying Liverpool will be the biggest underachievers because of the expectations that was put upon them. And they have been so far.
I actually think Brentford will be the biggest underachievers.
Actually, by a landslide, they have been the biggest underachievers.
I think they've been very, very comfortably a mid-table side, and I think they're going to get relegated this season. With the change of manager, all the players that have gone out, I actually think they'll be playing in the championship next year. So I have Brentford as the biggest underachiever. Then surprise.
Where Anton was wrong.
Again, I think Brentford are safe this year. I don't think they're going. I've changed my mind on that. I'm willing to concede defeat on that one.
I think it'll be Manchester United. I think
Where Anton was right.
surprise of the season so far. I mean, of course, you can say there are other ones like Bournemouth could be the biggest surprise of the season. Sunderland could be the biggest surprise of the season. But everyone was so down on Manchester United that they qualified. And listen to what I was saying.
people are thinking they're going to be finishing lower than what they really will be. And I think this year the top six sides, whatever the top six will be the top six. And I think Man United will finish within that top six, which, going from 15th last year. And I think Spurs as well in a similar category. I think they'll also have, just like Henry said, I think they'll also have a really big season.
Where Anton was right.
Ish. I mean, they were 17th last year. They're within the top four now. I don't think I'm wrong. In terms of that, at the moment where we're sitting. Again, a lot of the stuff is fluid. Let's move on to this one, which is again
where Anton was right.
We'll do them a bit later in the show. We haven't missed yours out. Anton, I want to ask you a question. Obviously, a very good win today. I think we broke the game down a lot today. How happy are you with the start of Arsenal's season overall? 6 games in, second, 12 points, big victory. Best, I think you've scored the most, conceded the least in the league so far. Overall, how good has your start been to the season?
Yeah, look, I just want to point out I know we've gone into this whole Newcastle Arsenal, the nitty gritty parts of this game, but I want to look at the bigger picture here, which is there are first 6 games, and people can say it's only 6 games in the season, it means nothing. Arsenal's first 6 games are away at Old Trafford, right? We had to go away to Anfield. We had City come here to the Emirates, and we went away to Newcastle, which has been one of the toughest away grounds that we've been to. And now we are only 2 points off the top. The schedule now is going to open up tremendously for Arsenal. We are going to not play a top 6 team until December, which we play Spurs, and then we play Chelsea twice in back-to-back weeks.
And November.
Up until
November.
No, it's December, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, November, I think.
Where Anton was wrong.
we do play them in November, so my bad.
I think it's early December, both of them.
Sorry, we played them in December, not November. My bad.
Spurs, Bayern, and Chelsea, I think.
I think it's early December. I think it's the first week of December.
Okay. But yeah, go on. Carry on point. Sorry.
Anyway, so now that Liverpool dropped points and Arsenal have now capitalized on that, I just got to say, I just want to compare the two team seasons to this point, right? So given that Arsenal had the hardest schedule so far, goal difference is +4. We've scored the same amount of goals, and yet we have played the toughest schedule. By the way, Liverpool in comparison have played the 12th toughest schedule in the Premier League. So for all my Arsenal fans who are complaining, and this is mainly the reason why I drive this point home, and we've gotten so lost in Arteta and the negative tactics and this and that. Arsenal are 2 points off the top with our hardest games of the season out of the way. Like, this is a tremendous opportunity now for Arsenal to go ahead and win this Premier League. And I know I'm saying after 6 games, and I'm not saying we're winning it. It's an opportunity to do so. Like, people are underestimating that. And I just felt like I just had to underline that, because in the bigger picture of the season, Arsenal are right about where you want them to be. And I just want to put an exclamation point behind what I said there, because look how things have played out. I said that first 6 games laid out a platform for Arsenal to allow us to kind of move up the table. And since then, we've only moved. We were, by the way, that day after beating Newcastle, this is when this video came out, we had moved to within 2 points behind Liverpool. The next week again, we win again. Liverpool lose 1 point. After the international break again, we win. Liverpool lose 4 points. Then again, Arsenal win. Liverpool lose 7 points. Man City also lose. We went 6 points ahead of City as well. So, and again, this weekend, City play against Bournemouth, who are second in the table. They've had a better season than City to this to date. Liverpool play Villa, by the way, in a game now that Hassam is saying is Judgment Day for Arne Slot. So look about the contrast. Just to think about that statement, although I disagree. But like, I disagree with the Arne Slot Judgment Day thing. But again, like every single week, I feel more and more confident. And again, I was called out for it on this very stream. I'm not going to spend the time playing that back. But again, I just got to take the victory on this one. It's looking more and like one of my best takes of the season. So I have to say,
Where Anton was right.
All right, moving on. And of course, this is actually the last one, which was right or wrong. And then we'll do another one of the pending judgments. Here you go.
Where Anton was wrong.
Don't expect them to drop points against Manchester United, because
by the way,
I'm going to tell you this.
We'll talk about that later. But
Manchester United only win or win games when people say they have no chance. As soon as people say United can do something against X, they don't. United are going to lose next game. Like, guarantee.
Right, okay, can I jump on this one now? Because this is the Man United fan base repeating the same mistake they did when they were at the last international break. They spent 2 weeks gassing themselves up because City had lost two matches in a row. Oh, yeah, City are struggling. It's our turn. We're going to go to the Etihad and turn them over.
It's the exact same situation.
We're going to go to Anfield and we're going to... I'm like, guys, haven't you been through enough pain?
Yeah. It's not good. They're not
why are you doing this to yourself?
I don't think they even draw the game. I think they just straight up lose.
By the way, here's the amazing parallel, right? They won a game against a relegation team at Old Trafford. Burnley, go on international break, confident. We'll beat Man City. They've now beaten a promotion team at Old Trafford going into the national break. We're going to beat Liverpool. And it's like, Liverpool lost to Crystal Palace and Chelsea. They are better teams than you. Those games were away from home. Brighton and Tottenham are better teams than you. Just because those teams can do it doesn't mean that you can. Oh boy, there's a lot of where Anton was wrong all over that. And I was so proud of that analogy, of that parallel. By the way, again, another good chance to plug Fire Them Cannons. And because you get a little bit of a sample of Fire Them Cannons, even though one where I was wrong. But yeah, I need to issue an apology. And by the way, I doubled down on this point. But I need to issue an apology to Manchester United, because obviously Harry Maguire helped beat Liverpool, obviously with a winning header.
I also, by the way, just to cap that up, said that Liverpool would win 4-1 and Isak and Wirtz would get off the mark. So that didn't happen either. But it's so funny. Then a few days later, I went on to Six-Sided and I doubled down with the exact same parallel.
Paul.
See, unfortunately, what I would do is what Terry generally does, which is just say as little as possible on this topic. Because I'll give you a really nice just a comparison. So we had just come from the international break a month and a bit ago. You guys had just beaten a promotion side at home, Burnley. Then you went away and you saw that Man City were in bad form, and you guys were like, "Oh, we can go away to Man City, get a win." Then you get thumped. Here we are again, back right again, as if you haven't learned your lesson. Just beaten a promotion side at home in Sunderland. Now you've had a 2-week break, and Liverpool are on a pad of form. You're going to go to Anfield and now expect to beat them. Like, I want to be as nice as possible when I say this, but Man City lost to Tottenham. They lost to Brighton. Those teams are better right now than Manchester United. In this scenario, Liverpool lost to Chelsea and they lost to Crystal Palace. And as much as you don't want to hear it, those sides right now are better sides than Manchester United.
Really funny,
you
right?
can't make a comparison and put the same exact expectations on. So it's the flip side. Yeah, look, my apology to Manchester United, and this is for the following statement. I said, first of all, I said Liverpool would smash United, and United fans have no reason to believe that they would beat Liverpool. That was something, by the way, a statement that I said on Hotspot on Upset Alert, or was I was calling that Anton's picks that week, but yeah, I did say that. And this statement that I said that United were not as good as Brighton, Palace, Spurs, and Chelsea. Well, they are level on points with Tottenham on the table. They are ahead of Crystal Palace on the table. They've beaten Brighton recently and are ahead of them on the table. So, and they're ahead of Chelsea and beaten Chelsea this season on the table. So, and by the way, they had already beaten Chelsea at the time. Yeah. Taking the L on that one. My apologies to Manchester United fans. Man United are looking good. They've really turned things around, and Ruben Amorim has got them clicking at this point to date on the 30th of October, 2029. We're going to close out this. This is not an Anton Right versus Wrong. This is a big take that I made on Six-Sided about 2 weeks ago, give or take. Or no, just about 10 days ago, I'd say. 10 days ago. And the claim here was the following.
They even scored against Arsenal.
The thing is, I don't think that Arsenal's lead will ever... Arsenal are never going to be second in the league ever again for the rest of the year. That's my bold take.
You think you're going to stay top for the whole season now?
The whole season, yeah.
Wow.
Because I think if anything...
man.
Well, me and Dan are cut from the same cloth, as you know. But big up, Dan, if you're watching. Go subscribe and like the Gunas Therapy as well. I love to give love to everybody I can. Positive Dan and Negative Dan, by the way, who's on this show with me. Do a great podcast. I'm there on as many Mondays as I possibly can, a regular on the Gunas Therapy. I love that. I love being on that show. But yeah, this take was bold, and I stuck by it. Yeah, I just think that the fixtures open up. The more the season goes on, the bigger the league goes. We went from 5 points behind Liverpool to now we're 3 points clear of City, 4 points clear of every single week. Now it's 7 points clear of Liverpool, 6 points clear of City. So it's trending in the right way. It's in a position where Arsenal are comfortable. Like I said that, there's a possibility that, of course, if the team plays before us, they jump ahead of us for a few hours. It's starting to get to the point now where I feel like if Arsenal go on a run here, we've almost negated the possibility of that happening, where we're just going to be top of the league, full stop, and never leave first place. I still believe that. Moves on. Arsenal keeps going higher and higher up the league. Our schedule only continues to get easy, and I'm seeing the two of them. We're going to play each other in a few weeks, and that's for me the tipping point. Like if City beats Liverpool at Etihad, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm worried about City right now. But if that's a draw, I don't see any point in which Arsenal is going to fall off, because I think this is a better Arsenal team than that of the past. You were talking about Pep being frustrated by not winning it last year. I would say Arteta is frustrated for not winning it the last 3 years, and he's learned from that. I think in order to be great, you have to feel the pain in order to be able to adjust and overcome. And I think that's what's going on with this Arsenal team. This team, strength and depth, we can have injuries and we're still going to be okay. And the most important thing is that we don't concede goals. We've conceded 3 goals all season, and it's been 10 days, played 3 matches since, same thing. We still have only conceded 3 goals all season. The only one that was from open play was against said Erling Haaland. So I think this Arsenal team is just another level from what it has been before.
I'm not going to say nothing on that, Anton. I just hope you're right. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to get into nothing. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's hope you're right, mate.
Yeah, and that's a good way to close it out. And, you know, positive, negative Dan, sorry, or realist Gooner. Dan the man. I hope I'm right too. And we'll be watching to see. We'll be watching to see how that take progresses. I think that one's moving in a positive direction, don't you guys? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you disagree that I was right, that I pulled the trigger on right or wrong? A lot of people will think that I'm premature in a lot of stuff. But as you can see, it can kind of pay off for you or not. So yeah, again, don't forget to hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're liking this content. Again, this is just an example of me kind of being fair. You know, there are things that I'm proud about that I got right, of course, but also I'm willing, when I say things wrong, that I'm willing to admit defeat. And that kind of allows me to go out there with bravery and kind of just speak my mind. Because, again, I said this to my brother yesterday on Fire Them Cannons. I said, when you're sitting behind a microphone long enough, you're going to say things that are right, and you're going to say things that are wrong, and you're going to say a lot of things that are wrong. And I wanted to create this platform here where I could just kind of just shoot my dart at the wall, and I'll tell you which ones land and which ones didn't land. But they're not really darts, to kind of clarify. These are my real, true, genuine opinions. And yeah, look, you can see I'm just steadfast, I'm sturdy with it. And that's what you're going to get here on Hot Sport. And as well as you're going to get that big up to the Football Terrace, I need to say, because a lot of those clips came from the Football Terrace. I could have included stuff I said on Gunas Therapy. It's a lot of shuffling through a lot of videos, but there will be more Anton Rights, Anton's Wrongs in the future. This is the first debut. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys on the flip side. By the way, tomorrow morning, or whatever it is, 6 p.m. UK time, I will be on Six Sided again for another one. So let's see what we have in store, you know, this week. This week is got on videos, and yes, look out for Under Pressure, and look out for Upset Alert coming up as future videos before the end of the week, before we start to hit the match. Anyway, until then, guys, Anton out.